Hey, what's up? Tech Bro Cholo here, and welcome back to where we take awesome out of the box. Now today we're going to be talking about the top 5 smartphones with 5G under 15,000 pesos. Well, for the first half of the year. Okay, so it's no secret that 5G is a hot topic, and it's only gonna become more and more relevant as network providers make those 5G towers rise up. So I'm making this video for anyone who wants to get on that ship without having to break the bank. And whether your area already has 5G or you want to be prepared for that lightning fast connection, here are 5 phones with 5G under 15,000 pesos for the first half of 2021. Number 1. The Redmi Note 10 5G. Kicking off our list is the Redmi Note 10 5G. I reviewed other Note 10 variants and I was really happy with the general performance of this line. Build-wise, although you're only getting a plastic back and frame, you're getting Corning's Gorilla Glass 3 for the front. And I think it's nice we're getting protection here because the world is beginning to open up, and you're gonna want to have that protection even on your phone. Yep, get vaccinated guys. For the screen, we have a 6.5-inch 90Hz IPS LCD, and even if it's not AMOLED, you'll still enjoy videos because of the full HD Plus resolution. For the cameras, we have a 48-megapixel main, 2-megapixel macro, and 2-megapixel depth sensor, with an 8-megapixel snapper up in front. In my opinion, a pretty standard setup for a mid-ranger, and you're gonna see why later. Powering the Redmi Note 10 5G is a MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G with a 7nm process. That's paired with 4 or 6 GB of RAM with 128 GB of storage. So you're getting pretty good performance while consuming less power thanks to the processor. And with its big 5000 mAh battery, you're sure to enjoy hours and hours of your favorite videos and casual gaming. And charging that battery is an 18-watt charger. So yeah, I can more or less guarantee that you'll have a good time with this phone, especially if you have access to that 5G connection. It's 9,990 pesos for the 4GB 128GB version and 11,490 pesos for the 6GB 128GB storage version. Number 2. The Poco M3 Pro 5G. Poco has been dishing fan favorites left and right, and the Poco M3 Pro 5G is no exception. Once again though, we're getting another plastic build, so I'd protect it with a case if I were you. But at least we're still getting Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. And that'll be protecting the 6.5-inch 90Hz IPS LCD on the front, which has a full HD Plus resolution. For the cameras, once again, we're getting a 48-megapixel main, 2-megapixel macro, and 2-megapixel depth sensor, with an 8-megapixel selfie camera. Inside we have, you guessed it, a Dimensity 700 5G processor. That's paired with 4GB RAM and 64GB storage, or 6GB RAM and 128GB storage. And that's with a 5000 mAh battery and 18-watt charging to boot. So yeah, more or less the same performance when it comes to gaming, media quality, cameras, and battery. It makes a lot of sense that both of these made the list because of their bang for the buck specs for their prices, and in the end it'll boil down to which of the two brands you support more. Or you know, aesthetically, which colorways or design you prefer more. That's 8,990 pesos for the 4GB 64GB version and 11,990 pesos for the 6GB 128GB storage version. Number 3. The Realme 8 5G. Realme's been making rounds here locally for years, and they're making 5G easier to access with this bang for the buck mid-ranger. We have a nice, minimalistic back panel that does a nice job against fingerprints. Fingerprints on a glossy surface. One of my biggest pet peeves. Next, we have another 6.5-inch 90Hz IPS LCD which is protected by Gorilla Glass 3. And I know I've mentioned 90Hz a few times already, but I can't stress enough how much of an awesome feature this is. And once you experience it, you'll never want to drop down to 60Hz on a smartphone again. And like I mentioned a while ago, standard lineup. 48-megapixel main camera, 2-megapixel macro, and 2-megapixel depth sensor. But now, compared to the first two on our list, we have a beefier selfie camera with a 16-megapixel snapper. And inside, we have the usual suspect, a Dimensity 700 5G. But unlike the first two, we have a heftier 8GB of RAM paired with 128GB of storage. So if you're planning to multitask with this, I think it's gonna be so much easier. Keeping the phone alive is another big 5000 mAh battery that has 18-watt charging. Now another thing that sets it apart is the UI. While the first two phones have MIUI, this one has Realme UI. Say that 5 times fast. And if you're used to this one over the other or simply prefer it, it may be the one to grab. That's 11,990 pesos and it comes with 8GB RAM and 128GB of storage. Number 4. The OnePlus Nord N10 5G. Next up, we have a phone from a brand that built up a niche cult following. It may not be as popular as the other brands on the list, but I've personally really enjoyed my time with their phones. The OnePlus Nord N10 5G has a nice, minimalistic back panel with a fingerprint scanner. I would have preferred the side-mounted one, but that's just me. Again, we're getting a full plastic build, with Gorilla Glass 3 protecting the 6.49-inch 90Hz IPS LCD. And although we're not getting the inky blacks or vibrance of AMOLED, things are sharp thanks to the full HD Plus resolution. And you can enjoy media more on this thanks to stereo speakers. I am really happy with this. None of the other phones on the list has them. Now for the back camera setup, it's a lot more packed because we have a big 64-megapixel main camera, 8-megapixel ultra-wide, 2-megapixel depth sensor, and 2-megapixel macro. While on the front, you're getting a 16-megapixel snapper. You can even shoot 4K 30 and 1080 60 on this, so it's great for vloggers and content creators just like me. And finally, to change things up, inside we have a Snapdragon 690 5G paired with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. And for us, it's also a good setup for a mid-ranger, so tasks and casual gaming should be a breeze. And although you get a smaller 4300 mAh battery here, you get faster 30-watt charging. Pick your poison. And another thing worth noting is that we have Oxygen OS here, one of my personal favorite Android UIs out there. You can get it for 13,990 pesos and it comes with 6GB of RAM and 128GB storage. Number 5. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. Now the last phone on the list comes from the popular and well-trusted Samsung. For a lot of people, when you hear the word Android, it's the first name to come to mind. That being said, for the build, not much changes because we still get a full plastic frame, but I'm sad to say we do not get Gorilla Glass on this one. So I suggest getting both the screen protector and the case. On the front though, we have the biggest screen on our list. You're getting a 6.6-inch 90Hz LCD display. But just because it's bigger doesn't make it any less sharp, thanks to the full HD Plus resolution. Now for the cameras, we have a 48-megapixel main camera, 5-megapixel ultra-wide, and 2-megapixel depth sensor. It's the only one on the list lacking a macro, but I'm really happy we get an ultra-wide instead. While on the front, we have an 8-megapixel selfie camera. Samsung has a really good reputation when it comes to camera quality and color science, so that's really something to think about too. Inside, we have, yet again, a Dimensity 700 5G paired with 6GB RAM and 128GB storage, powering Samsung's One UI. Tried and tested, this setup should make everyday tasks and gaming nice and easy. And Samsung can be very generous when it comes to software updates, so that's a plus. And you're sure to enjoy this phone for a long time thanks to the 5000 mAh battery that's charged by 15-watt fast charging. If you're looking for affordable 5G access and you're a fan of Samsung like many others, it's definitely one to consider. And you can grab one for 13,990 pesos for a 6GB RAM, 128GB storage model. There you have it, our top 5 phones with 5G under 15,000 pesos for the first half of 2021. Who says investing in tech for the future has to break the bank? Grab any one of these bang-for-the-buck phones and you're sure to enjoy the lightning-fast speed of 5G once it becomes available in your area. But if you already have access, we gave you our top 5, the choice is yours. Please do tell us which one you're planning to grab in the comment section below. You guys can check out more tech news on Unbox.ph. Also don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yup, subscribe because when you hit 250,000 subs, we're giving away a smartphone. So don't forget a hashtag #SubToUnbox. Hit the notification icon if you want to get them updates when we drop videos. Once again, it's your tech bro Cholo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.